flip kick. Hey guys, it's the boss. Today I'm gonna react to top 40 games and ideas that changed during development. For some games, there's been some cut content, such as the freaking giant thing from Halo, which was cut, which is a part of the Covenant forces. I really thought it was supposed to be in the game, and also the old Combine forces, even the old weapons such as the I forgot what it's called. But anyways, let's get to it.
This video contains disturbing and violent content. Viewer discretion advised.
Video game development is a long, hard, and
Where
stressful
some could be
process,
development
and often
hell,
things are
and
cancelled, changed, or
some
removed.
things that changed.
Maybe something just didn't work in practice, or they decided a new idea was better. This informative list will show some incredible changes and ideas over some
But yeah, the
interesting
hide
games
that gun. I
probably
was
never
talking
knew
about that
about.
gun right there. Top 40 games and ideas that changed during development. Surprise.
Gran Turismo. Gran
Oh.
Turismo 2 was planned to have a drag
first one
racing
got-
mode, but it was removed late in development, making 100% completion impossible. Some of the drag racing cars, though, were still left in the game. The Eiger rally courses were also cut, although reinstated as Eiger Nordwood in Gran Turismo 5. Gran Turismo 3 also had the Lamborghini Diablo GT, which was rendered inaccessible outside of cheats in non-Japanese versions due to licensing conflicts.
Okay. Now this is a short list. As you can
Elder
see.
Scrolls 2 Daggerfall. It was
Oh.
originally planned for the player to have sex with NPCs in the game,
What?
and there is plenty of unused text in the game's code that reflects
Damn, the
this.
script though. Yo. Damn.
Donkey Kong Country.
Oh.
In an old Scrobes page on the Railway website, there was mention of there once being a giraffe animal buddy planned to appear in Donkey Kong Country. This giraffe
Okay.
character was dropped for unknown reasons, though one of his mentioned abilities was that he would allow Donkey Kong to crawl up his neck and reach high items and secrets. It is debated whether or not the plans for this giraffe buddy was actually real though, as Rare could have simply been making a joke at the expense of Fab, who would have made a rather odd request for a giraffe to appear in the upcoming Donkey Kong game.
This question is good. Then why didn't you just answer
Super Mario Bros. 3.
that? Ooh. Okay.
Numerous lost levels have been found, one of which consists of several unused variations of the empty white room with a giant question mark block that spits out 3 1-ups. Some of these
Oh.
levels contain gold cheat tubes and green parabeetles, otherwise unused palette swaps. Several
Oh.
unused bonus games have been found. They will involve dice rolls, but no one knows what they're actually supposed to do, since all they do is roll the dice, spit out some coins, and then return to the map screen.
Okay. Number 36.
Donkey Kong 64.
Another Donkey
The
Kong
Kong's
title.
weapons in Donkey Kong 64
Oh,
were
it's supposed to be
originally real
guns?
guns, as opposed to the logs firing fruit and nuts.
Nice.
It's thought
That
this
would be
change was
cool.
made to avoid controversy and make sure the game received a family rating.
Oh, so that's what they received that stick. Okay.
Left 4 Dead 2.
Ooh, okay.
Roller coaster crash. Originally the coaster was
Oh.
supposed to crash, causing the alarm to go off, which would have explained the fire in the zombie survival guide, but it was cut.
Okay. Did the Hazard team? Zombies
Tekken
pick up-
3.
Ooh, Tekken.
Tekken 3's arcade data had references to a secret
Sake.
fighter named Saki. Though he seems to be just Yoshimitsu's model
Sake.
with Jin's moveset, Saki was planned to be an animal
Pronounced.
character and that he was just a
What?
salmon. The idea was that no matter what button the player pressed, the salmon would simply
Thank God it was
fall around.
cut.
This was later removed as they were concerned that the players would be angry about paying to play as a fish that can't do anything.
Yeah, that will change the gaming community.
Army of 2. Army of 2
Oh.
was initially much more ambitious, featuring more complex co-op maneuvers such as throwing clips to your partner and flipping objects for cover, and an emotive AI partner who would do things like pissing and listening to music in real time.
Oh.
However, constant delays and difficulties during development led to EA Montreal severely scaling down these features. While in the final game
This is what EA is the
beta, it
shittiest
does show
company.
signs of jumpy
I
development
mean,
with its
they
short
put some
length and rushed ending.
microtransactions. They also done it on Star Wars Battlefront as Stefan said.
Psychonauts.
Ooh.
The game was initially going to be a horror-like platformer that would be Xbox exclusive.
Oh,
as the
everything is changed by
2002
then. I can
trailer
see that
shows.
further.
The logo was also going to look like a logo for a spy movie. The camp was going to have a darker atmosphere and was going to be called Whispering Pines instead of Whispering Rock. In Love for Shopolis, you were going to fight Linda instead of Kochimara, and the final level was going to take place inside Lily's mind. Halfway through development, Double Fine made the game less scary and more funny, which caused Microsoft to refuse to publish the game.
Huh.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Oh.
Samus and Link were going to be unlockable characters in the Wii version of
Oh,
Marvel
that would
Ultimate
be
Alliance.
awesome.
The developers showed them to Nintendo, but were told immediately to remove them.
They're your characters, bro. The freaking crossovers
Mario
are
Kart
awesome.
64.
Oh, what about
Mario Kart 64 originally contained several banners
Yoshi
showcased around
won.
circuits which parodied
Luigi.
real-world products such as Marboard, Mobile, and Goodyear.
Cooper?
These were changed drastically
Mario
because
Star,
any of the
Yoshi,
companies could have sued
Luigi's.
Nintendo, and also one of them
Mario.
was parodying cigarettes. The game also featured Kamek as a playable character.
Oh, okay.
During its last development stages, Kamek was replaced with Donkey Kong.
Oh. I mean, it's good at Donkey Kong Punch.
Halo series.
Ooh.
A number of enemies were planned for this series, but were removed in the final game.
Oh, even
The
the,
Covenant Engineer was
the
cut so late that
engineer.
the files were left on the disc.
but it appeared in
Novels which
Halo
make up
3
Halo's
ODST.
expanded universe include them though,
Yeah,
and
that looked like
they
that
are
in Halo Combat
ODST.
Evolved.
The only reason they were cut was because the developers felt the tech couldn't convey them well enough for an emotional
Yeah.
impact.
And they also
Halo 2
removed
was
the
to feature an
Juggernaut.
enemy called
These are the
Juggernaut
Juggernauts.
and the Drinnel. That was supposed to be a shout out to the wholesome marathon.
Yeah.
Bungie confessed that Halo 2 and 3 were supposed to be one game, which makes plausible explanation as to why Halo 3 was so short. Imagine what Halo 2 could have been if Bungie hadn't messed up during development by wasting half of their other time creating a graphics and game engine that could never have been implemented.
Thank God they split it into parts. Like, you know.
Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh.
The trailer shown at E3 Space World 2001 showed a much more realistic Delfino Plaza, along with humanized residents to Silver Piata. The town itself was a lot greener and with more white than mixed colours found in the final version. A giant mushroom-type
If
creature
Mars
with two
allowed
legs
the human,
served as
this
a
would
hazard
have
to
been
the
a
player as well.
failure.
There were leftovers
Like
in the
what happened to
Japanese Super Mario
Sonic.
Sunshine version which indicate that he got to the levels
He got
by
kissed by
train stations
Princess.
by buying tickets with soul coins. Another interesting
But
thing
thank
is
God
that
they
the
changed
station
that.
list mentions levels that were cut or weren't in the game at all. These were Hotel Lacrima, Battleship Island, Erto Rock, Lighthouse Island, and Flame Temple.
Okay. 27.
Resident Evil 2,
Oh, okay.
often referred to as Resident Evil 1.5.
Oh yeah, I
Resident Evil
remember
2 was
this.
scrapped and restarted late in development before it became the game it is today. Leon didn't change much
Same
during
as
the
Resident
transition,
Evil
but Claire was originally a
3.5.
character named Elsa Walker, a college student vacationing in Raccoon City. Apparently the game was nearly 80% finished before game director Shinji Mikami decided he wasn't happy with it and wanted to restart. You can find footage of the nearly finished game online today. Apparently the story for the scrapped version of Resident Evil 2 was much more conclusive and could have served as an ending to the series.
Yeah, I can see that probably.
Luigi's Mansion.
Ooh.
Luigi's Mansion was originally going to be the first Mario game ever to be rated T. It was going to feature a much darker story with much more horrifying monsters and a much creepier mansion. The biggest change was if the game was not completed by the conclusion of one in-game day, Luigi would not save Mario and possibly become cursed himself. There were several scenes with Luigi that were never used, possibly due to how disturbing and creepy he looked. Luigi's Mansion was also planned to be in stereoscopic 3D using an add-on, but when the production of the add-on turned out to be more expensive than the system itself, it was canned.
Get away, Luigi. Wow, he's very cool.
Deus Ex. According to
Yeah, that's
Eidos
cool.
Montreal, the Montreal level of Deus Ex Human Revolution was initially meant to be a hub city, much like Detroit, with vendors and subquests. Buildings were
Oh,
designed,
fix
and
something.
developers have said in interviews that the unique architecture of the city gave a look and feel unseen in any game so far.
Okay.
There were also plans to make Upper Hengisha into a
Oh,
hub as well as India.
Look at the whole landscape.
Ultimately, these were all scrapped due to lack of development time, as well as a desire to make fewer yet larger hubs.
Oh.
In the original Deus Ex, during sections of the game where the New York skyline
Oh,
is
there's
visible
the
in
city
the
there.
background, the two towers of the World Trade Center are noticeably missing. The real towers were destroyed 1 year after the game was released. Harvey Smith has explained that due to texture memory limitations, the portion of the skyline with the Twin Towers does exist in the game's data files, but had to be left out of the final game. According to Smith, during the game's development, the
What happened
developers
to
justified the lack of the towers by
Tower
stating that
Liberty?
terrorists had destroyed the World Trade Center earlier in the game's storyline. Tomb Raider.
Ooh.
Lara Croft of Tomb
Don't tell me
Raider
there's gonna
was
be new
originally a
code.
male Indiana Jones clone, before being changed to a South American adventurer named Laura Cruz. They eventually
Laura
changed the name to
Cruz?
Croft to be UK friendly, and the U was taken out of her name due to pronunciation issues with Americans.
Okay.
Lara was also supposed to have grenades, dual Uzis, and a rocket launcher in the first game,
What?
but most of the ideas were scrapped due to technical limitations. The developers gave Lara dual pistols instead, and made the Uzis a game pickup. Tomb Raider Legend was also supposed to let Lara use a rocket launcher as shown in the concept art, but it was scrapped.
I think Yuka was the
Splinter
host.
Cell.
Okay.
Splinter Cell began internally as an RTS
Oh, this
at
is-
Ubisoft, and before it made its
This
way to
level
a
is
stealth
actually a
action game,
training.
it took a pit stop where it spent some
This is
time
actually a training
as an
level
adventure game
in the
on a
first
floating
Splinter Cell
island.
game.
Ubisoft was basically throwing ideas at the board until something stuck, and that idea ultimately became a Metal Gear Solid stealth game competitor.
Yeah. Which is cool though.
Mirror's Edge. The original main protagonist was a special agent armed
Oh,
with a
this
gun,
whole
which
area
was
is
set in a
white.
sprawling, gritty metropolis. The gameplay mechanics and
What?
ideas are pretty much the same, except you could fire while parkouring. In the concept art of Mirror's Edge, a level
That
was
would
not
be
shown in the
cool.
full game. This level was a prison that was originally part of the main game, where Faith was either arrested and was interrogated by an unknown man in an office, or she had to find Kate. There are still several models and weapons that are still left in the code of the game. These included a CPF officer with a shotgun, a pursuit cop that was never used but is shown in the concept artwork, and a riot officer armed with a shield. Again, this model is also shown in the concept art. It was also shown that police dogs and grenades were originally going to be used, but were later removed, possibly due to the difficulty of the game already.
Oh. What? Okay.
Portal 2.
Ooh.
Early in Portal 2's development, it was planned for the game to contain no portals at all. Valve focused
What?
on a new gameplay mechanic called F-Stop. And though the new mechanic received some positive feedback, every single playtester was disappointed with the
You need
absence of
portals, though.
Valve then revised the game to include the portals once again.
Yes. Amazing. Sick.
Minecraft.
Oh, here we
Originally
go.
called the Cave Game, Minecraft had a ton of things that they left out.
Oh my god,
Not
the
intended
textures.
to include a sky dimension, which would be the polar opposite of the Nether.
Yeah.
It was to be included in the
It's
Beta
supposed to be
1.8
heaven.
Adventure update. Players would have been able to enter a world made up of floating formations once they slept in a bed.
I think the
However,
Buskers
Notch delayed this new area until he
went to
could
that
make the Nether
level,
more
went to
interesting.
that
Other
heaven.
blocks and items such as gears, crying obsidian block, were all removed. On a side note, the creepers were based on the failed model of a pig. The length and the
What?
height of the pig model were accidentally inverted, resulting in a tall midsection with small legs. And thus, the creeper was born.
Yep. I think Toby turned it as a mod for the Upper
GoldenEye
Skyline,
64.
whatever.
The game was originally intended, in the first few months of its development, to be an on-rail shooter in the style of Virtual Cop. But this was
On-rail?
changed. The solo level also would have been an on-rail shooter, where you would take out enemies from different platforms.
Oh.
The Dam mission had roughly half of its original objectives scrapped during development, as the designers believed it would have been too difficult for a first level. The most notable of these was the Tower 1, a remote island with a mounted wall gun that you can still see a far distance away from the dam overpass. Originally, Bond would have to take the boat onto the island, blow up the machine, and possibly retrieve bungee jumping equipment needed to leap off the dam. Bond would also have to destroy the truck halfway through the dam mission when it stops at the depot. You were supposed to plant explosives on it. The All Bonds cheat, which would have unlocked all the classic James Bond actors for its
Yeah, but
multiplayer, was taken out
yeah.
when it became impossible to secure all the necessary licensing rights. The textures remain on the ROM, but the character models themselves were removed. Also, the game originally was never intended to have its famous multiplayer mode. The developers literally added in the feature at the last minute without informing the executives at either Rare or Nintendo.
Wow.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, okay.
Originally, the game was supposed to star a human boy named Edison, who fought with a
Oh,
wooden
yeah,
sword
I
against a
remember
group of
this.
pirates led by Captain Blackeye. It was planned for the Super Nintendo but had to be moved to Nintendo 64
Yeah.
due to the fact that the Super Nintendo was in its last days. The character of Edison was changed to a rabbit when Rare felt he was too generic, then a dog, and finally a bear, which they then called Banjo.
Banjo.
The story for the game originally was about a giant who kidnapped Banjo's girlfriend Piccolo at a concert the two were watching. The plot to the game originally also had a part where Banjo and Kazooie first met, and where Wombo was originally supposed to be the role for Mumbo.
Oh, okay. How about Banjo-Tooie?
Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
The
wow,
entire
great.
Grand Theft Auto franchise is one. It started life as a pretty normal racing simulator, with police who called
Okay.
over racers. However, the AI for the police was far too aggressive and started slamming into racers.
Wow, the
Playtesters had
freaking
much more
2D.
fun dueling with the police than doing the racing, so the developers
2D,
made that a
sorry.
core gameplay component, and the franchise was born.
Yeah. 16.
Manhunt. The Camheads is a gang that was going to appear
What
in Manhunt,
the
but was dropped from the final version. Each member of the Camheads had an actual camera for a head. It was probably an idea to make the Camheads have cameras for heads so that they could record the murders Cash committed on hunters. It is unknown if the cameras were either their actual heads or it was some type of mask. The clowns were supposed to be a final in-hunt gang that the player would encounter and be the hardest to fight. Laughing and shouting, they chased
Would have been
targets,
the most
making fun of
gruesome.
it, and were known to have excellent hunting skills. It was reported that they had rivalries with the Smileys. The Lost was also a gang that was dropped from the final release. This gang was planned to be found in a scrapyard with rusty pipes and glass shards.
Wow,
Their armour would
samurai.
provide excellent camouflage from the player, and the leader was called Binbag. Left 4 Dead.
Here comes
Left
the
4 Dead
first
was
one.
supposedly going to have zombie dogs in the game, but was cut.
What?
The sound files are still found in the PC version of the game,
Oh
however.
my god, look at the beta
The beta
version.
version was going to have Zoe showing some romantic
Look,
interest
Francis
to
has
but
hair.
was cut from the
I think
game
his name
due
was
to
Francis.
playtesters deeming it
Wait.
too distracting. The files for the
I think his name's
conversation are still
Francis.
present. However, one beta dialogue still plays out in the game, but it makes no sense. The beta
Does it look
version of
like the
Francis shows him
Cerberus
with a beer belly, while his
for Resident
final version,
Evil?
he does not have it. There were several enemies that were removed from the game, one being the Screamer, that wore a straitjacket, would run from survivors, hide, then let out a scream attracting the horde. Obviously it was removed because game testers found it too difficult to locate and kill him before he could summon a horde. Finally, in Left 4 Dead sound files, there are sounds similar to a dog. Although there is no mention of zombie dogs appearing in Left 4 Dead, Valve was planned to introduce these canines into the fray. Perhaps it was the sheer amount of infected already in the game that it was the sole reason why they were removed.
Yeah. The freaking beta models for the player
Super
characters.
Mario 64.
Super
There
Mario!
was supposed to be 32 worlds rather than the 15 that was shipped.
Yeah.
Players were also supposed to be able to take control of both Mario and Luigi and complete different
Yeah,
parts of the
but
castle
Luigi was only
simultaneously,
playable
which obviously means the game was originally
along with
for
Wario and
game.
Yoshi
Yoshi
in
was also supposed to have a much larger role in the
64
game rather than
DS.
just hiding on the roof of the castle. Cameo. Cameo had a very large amount of concept art and more importantly alpha cutscenes depicting a substantial amount of game mechanics that never made it into the final product. These included what appeared to be
wants
a
to play the
garden for
demo?
the baby versions of the Elemental Warriors, multiple cutscenes that didn't happen in the final game, small dragon sidekicks for Cameo, and several locations not found in the final product. All of this cut content is understandable considering Cameo's lengthy development cycle, as
Poor
well as its
creature.
final rush schedule to get Cameo into the launch window of the Xbox 360. Half-Life and Half-Life 2.
Ooh, okay.
Mr. Friendly was an enemy that was set to be in the first Half-Life. It
Mr.
would be able to
Friendly?
knock off Freeman's glasses and cause his vision to go blurred, which was considered an impressive effect back then, but was cut for being very annoying. Also, it would kill Freeman by
I could see
raping him.
that. The what?
A monster that was cut from Half-Life 2 was the Hydra, which was cut because although it looked cool, it was no fun to fight. There were also some coding
Yeah,
issues since it would
this one.
impel whoever
I
attacked him.
can't stop. Wait.
Alex Vance was originally the daughter of a military leader, Captain Vance. When the area he appeared in,
Yeah.
the air exchange was cut. Alex became Eli's daughter.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks before
Eli
the announcement
was
of the game,
Eli
Alex was a
Maxwell.
generic video game heroine, and Dr. Preen spent much of the development cycle half transformed into a Combine alien. Wolfenstein 3D.
Okay.
Wolfenstein started as a much more Metal Gear Solid style stealth
Oh, I
combat
can see
game,
that.
with features like switching uniforms with guards, dragging bodies to avoid discovery, and using the knife to silently attack enemies instead of alerting them with gunfire. The game's pace was slow, so because of all this complexity, they dropped it to speed up the game, and in doing so,
And it became a
invented the
first-person
frantic
shooter.
first-person shooter gameplay style we all know and love.
Yay! Blasting them bastards. Number 10.
Duke Nukem Forever. Duke
The
Nukem
most
Forever was
disappointing game
initially going to
ever.
be a side-scroller called Duke Forever, with Dr. Proton as the main antagonist.
Yeah.
The plot would have involved Duke trying to stop Proton from cutting the state of California off from the
Oh
rest
my
of the
God.
country, battling Protonite
And then it
Cyborg
was
and other
changed.
enemies on his way to a final clash with Proton himself. Proton was also going to be the main baddie of the Duke Nukem Forever, as shown in the E3 2001 trailer. That version would have had Proton trying to take over the world by using technology stolen from Area 51.
That's
Duke's
not
female
what we
sidekick,
call.
Bombshell, was set to be an integral part of the story. When Gearbox Software got their hands on Duke Nukem Forever, Bombshell was off limits as she was still owned by 3D Realms, so she was taken out of the final release.
And then everything went went downhill.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Okay.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl has shown a number of scrapped ideas and code still found in the game that were unused in the final outcome. For
What?
starters, the names of at least 7 removed characters.
Okay.
Mewtwo, Dr. Mario, Roy, Plusto and Minun, Dixie Kong, Toon Zelda and Toon Sheik. It seems none of them got particularly
Before
far in
those
development
characters
outside of
went in,
Mewtwo, who still
except
has data
for,
referring to the classic mode portrait and
Mario.
victory theme. Interestingly, it was said that Sonic
I
and
forgot
Solid
already.
Snake weren't going to be the
God
only
damn.
characters from their franchise. Shadow
Captain
and Grey
Falcon.
Fox were supposed to join them. However, Sega and Konami vetoed this, and they were demoted to assist trophies instead. Some unused files in Brawl suggest that several familiar enemies from the Kirby series, including Brontober,
Okay.
Blade Knight, and Bonkers, were supposed to
Yeah.
appear as enemies in the single-player
And
mode,
Tails was
as
supposed
well
to
as
be in the
Buzzy
game.
Beetle and Drybones from the Mario series. None of these actually made it into the game, then the models were used for a few of the trophies.
Yeah. Wasn't Tails supposed to be in this game too?
Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I think.
It might not be
Oh, yeah,
surprising
you
to learn
changed
that
your-
Conker started out as a children's platformer
Yeah,
called
it's
Conker's
Conker's
Quest.
Quest.
The game was announced in
Yeah.
1997, changed to 12 Tales
And
of
then it
Conker
changed.
64, and looked like an unspectacular platformer that did little
It
to
changed for a
separate
second
itself from
time
Rare's
to,
other Nintendo 64
Conker's
titles,
Bad Fur
like
Day.
Banjo-Kazooie and Donkey Kong 64. After several complaints, the disgruntled Rare team went underground and re-emerged in 2000 as the profane, adult-oriented game we know and love.
Yeah. With lots of curse words, gore,
Okami.
and stuff.
Okami is one of gaming's most visually
Oh, that's what it
compelling
looks like right now.
experiences, but it didn't start out that way.
Ooh.
In the beginning, Okami strived for realism. Switching to the cel-shaded art style was done out of technical
graphics
necessity
really
so that
look
Clover
cool
could
like
fit
that.
as much onto the disc as possible. Once Clover landed in an art style it liked, it ran with it at full speed and created a game that would never look dated.
Yeah, now look like that. Okay.
The Doom series. The original concept of Doom was reported as very different, including gameplay that would be more story and puzzle based, making it more like a first-person adventure game.
Okay.
Screenshots and scripts still exist of these early versions, and early beta versions released on the internet show it as a much slower and less action-packed game. In Doom 3, the alpha build consisted of a mechanic which allowed the player
This
to
can be
hide
seen
from
on
enemies,
YouTube.
giving the option to fight them if they really wished to. Many new scripted events happened when enemies were encountered, showing off the game's physics
Pinky
and
Demon.
particle effects, and the corpses never dissolved like they did in the final release. The famous Pinky Demon in the bathroom
Oh, I
was
remember
first
this.
leaked all over the internet on forums, but was actually never shown in the final version.
No.
However, it was originally planned for the game in the alpha build, but was removed for unknown reasons. The game was also supposed to introduce a Bird Demon and Spider Mastermind. Both look great by concept art standards and rendered, but the developers removed them from the final game. The game was also planned to introduce enemy game over animations, but
Yeah.
for unknown reasons it was removed.
They don't show the Hell
This scene
Knights.
shown is what happened if the player failed to defeat a Hell Knight.
And then decapitation. And in life. Yeah, the whole alpha gameplay.
Bioshock's
Is in
original story had
YouTube.
nothing to do with Andrew Ryan or Underwater
Yeah.
Cities. Players took on the role of a character called Carlos,
Are you
who
gonna
was
show the
hired
first
by a
trailer?
senator to rescue someone from a cult and reprogram them back into normal society. They wanted it to take place on land in a series of interconnected, controlled environment chambers created by 1940s Germany. The
Oh,
laboratories would be full of mysteriously dead human bodies being overrun by strange
Oh, here it is.
insectoid life forms called gatherers, who collected genetic material and body parts. The protectors for the gatherers were called the aggressors. Among other things promised was the ability to alter the controlled environment, such as raising the temperature in an area, protecting yourself from heat exhaustion, and allowing you to sprint all the time.
yeah.
Borderlands. Borderlands, much like Okami, began its life with a
Oh,
realistic
it looked like
visual
that
direction.
before
The
the,
first teaser
the
trailer for the
animation
game showed off a
style.
realistic shooter set in an intimidating wasteland.
Yeah.
The game was originally going to have randomly generated vehicles that could be collected like guns,
What's
as well as a way
Stargate?
to hijack a vehicle from a bandit.
Nothing
The
but a
dungeons
demon.
also have
Ooh.
random elements as well, like a cave or fortress. When the switch occurred, people were upset, but after the game released, everyone could see why the cartoonish style meshed perfectly with the game's humour.
Boom.
Condemned Criminal Origins.
Oh,
Condemned Criminal Origins
Yeah,
was originally
I
known
remember
as
this.
The Dark
Yeah.
by far into production. Under its name, the game was largely
It's supposed to
similar
look
but
like
different
that.
in several key areas. The player character
supposed
was
to
known
have
as Agent
powers.
Cross, and the game appeared to follow him on a government-sanctioned investigation rather than acting as Rogue on the run from the law. Although Cross possessed the supernatural learnings of Thomas from the final game, he could actually use various magical spells. For example, a spell could be uttered to pull a gun from an enemy's hands, and another sword door and other obstacles break in front of the player, seemingly negating the need for a fire axe. The forensic tools used by Cross also differed, as the detection and collection tools were typically one individual item. The UV light, for instance, could illuminate clues and then be used as physically to swipe across them to take samples. There were also unused enemies and weapons that are shown in the concept art of the final game, such as the fire extinguisher and an asylum patient. There's a few characters missing in the sequel too that were only shown in concept art, and there was also another weapon that wasn't used in the final
skateboard.
Game. Team Fortress 2.
You went into its full development
now. Its games to just stay over a long period
supposed to have a gold source engine, but now it changed to a source engine.
The game was in development for nearly a decade. It was shown off for the first time in 1999 at E3 with a realistic military art direction subtitled Brotherhood of Arms. Then in 2003 it was reworked into a game called Invasion, which centered around a human-alien conflict, and then it just sort of disappeared. Many assumed the game had been abandoned, as most of the team went working on other Valve projects. In 2006, the game was re-unveiled with its vastly altered art direction. The Man vs Machine mode was actually going to let players play as red and blue, just like in the trailer.
But playtesters
reportedly found this too confusing, so the mode only allowed you to play as red.
Yeah. Why is numero uno?
The Legend of Zelda series.
Ooh, okay.
In Twilight Princess, there are a few leftover enemies who are still in the game code, including a Twilight Palace monster that can knock you 10 feet away, and a 2-story golem made of rolled up golems. They were sadly never used in the full game. Death Mountain was supposed to be included somehow into this game, yet the path is blocked off mysteriously by an invisible wall, clearly highlighting that the developers were planning to introduce this area into the game, but it was left out. In Wind Waker, there's data for an item called the Water Boots. Putting them on causes Link to do the animation for them on, but they don't appear and they don't do anything. They're probably intended to allow Link to sink to the bottom of the water or walk on the surface of it. Zelda Ocarina of Time was originally planned to be played in a first-person perspective. The game changed to third person because Shigeru Miyamoto wanted the player to witness the change from young Link
and then comes the R-Wing.
He also wanted to showcase the animation sets for Link and wanted the player to feel much more immersed in the game. Quite a few things were also removed. Most notably the wind and the ice medallions. The forest portion of Ganon's castle and the ice cavern have more in common with the scrapped wind and ice temples than the aforementioned forest and water temples. An R-Wing was also a foldable element that was originally used to test the Z targeting in early development. In the Fire Temple, the original music heard sounded like the Arabic for the first pillar of Islam. There is no God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet. The music was later replaced to the same droning ambience, but without the chanting. The Gerudo crest and the mirror shield were altered because the Gerudo crest was too similar to the Islamic crescent moon. In early versions of Zelda Majora's Mask, the moon had no face. This could be why some promotional art shows the moon with no face.
Yeah, it's also yellow. Don't forget about that. And the Twilight Princess thingy, the original one wasn't like that, and as it is right now. Like it has changed before they could turn into a freaking wolf. And also the remake, the HD remake's gonna come next year on March 4th, I guess. And then in February 2016 marks the 30th anniversary of the Legend of Zelda. This time, now on, it's his 29th. And the Doom 3 Alpha gameplay. You can find it on YouTube by typing in Doom 3 Alpha or Doom 3 Alpha gameplay. And then it shows up like that. Like, you can take this new one right here. I'm watching Jacksepticeye, by the way, as you can see by the spider pool. Yeah, freaking weird. Let's see. Doom. Oh, sorry. I'm still waiting for Doom, the rebooted version. Doom 3 Alpha. Yep, there it is. Doom 3 Alpha. Yeah, you see right there. Now you can also play the Alpha, but I think there's a download link in that video if I remember. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. So that's been me reacting to top 40 games and ideas that changed during development. Now, he didn't mention the creatures, which was shown in the Halo E3 2000 trailer, which showed the wolf without like eyes, but it was cut in the game, and it appeared in the Halo books, not the comic books, but in like this novel books. And those stegosaurs look like creatures, like what were they called again? Not the dinosaurs with the long necks, but the one with the spikes. And they looked almost similar to that, but with the shape and all. And the Juggernaut thingy, I saw a gameplay of that, and they look freaking cool. And I thought they were in the game, but no, they were not. And I really want to play Psychonauts. But that would mean if I should buy it on Steam or on a store. I don't know. I'd rather just get it on Steam, I guess. I don't know. But the next video, hopefully, like is this month or next, we're gonna watch top 55 hoaxes in games. And for some of you who don't know what hoax is that everyone thinks that there's things in the game such as the fucking character of Street Fighter, but it was apparently a hoax. Same as the Ermac in Mortal Kombat 1. But it was actually a hoax too. But you can place it for the first time in Mortal Kombat 3 or Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, I guess. So yeah, that's been it. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next video that I'm going to react to. And yeah, peace.